Madden ratings are out. How do the 49ers look as it pertains to Madden 23? Who got slided? Who are looking really nice with their 90s and their 96s and their 99s on the 49ers roster? We heard there was supposed to be one. I'm not so sure there actually is now that I look at these ratings, and getting some reports about Deshaun Watson's suspension, how that might affect a potential Jimmy Garoppolo trade to the Cleveland Browns. All that coming up on today's Locked On 49ers.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker with you at BD Peacock at Eric_Crocker. Thanks for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Madden ratings are out. I've got some big problems with at least one rating as far as the Madden goes. And look, some people might say, you know what are we talking about, Madden ratings? I think Madden ratings means a lot more to some people than some of these lists that we've been talking about with, who cares what one knucklehead ranks somebody on the 49ers. If you're a Madden player, you got to play with these guys with these ratings. So I think the Madden ratings matter. And I know Crocky is a Madden player. I think you haven't played as much recently. We still haven't had that, by the way, no Nicholas Winkler on this Winky Wednesday that we're talking about Madden. And he's even Croc, is Wink ducking you with this Madden thing? We're supposed to have this showdown for like a year, and now he's ducking us on the Wednesday episode where we're going to talk about Madden ratings.
Right. I have the game. All right. I don't even think he has the games. I got my Xbox, the new one, the next gen, whatever Xbox. I have that. I got my Madden. I haven't played as much. This is the least amount I've ever played Madden, probably since 2013 or something. Like it's been a while since I haven't played. I just got a little too busy. I mean, we got podcasts stacked on top of each other, doing 2 shows on the Locked On Network, a lot of traveling back and forth to California, doing all these different things, training athletes, where playing in the Madden League, which I usually play in faithfully, all right, and we go deep. I mean, it's a 24-hour advance, so every 24 hours, like, you play at least one game, sometimes 2, and you have to fit that in with like your family. It almost kind of takes precedence over your family, where it's like, oh, about to eat, and then the guy hits you like, hey, are you free to play right now? And you have to play in windows when the other guys in the league are available because the league is full, so everyone you play. So, it's just, it either takes away something, or you got to stay up later doing it, and it takes away from maybe I can be watching film, and it just got to be a lot. And for the first time, I have not played Madden as much, but I'll still kick Nicholas Winkler's ass.
Wow, okay. So talking smack when he's not here. You're a little bit more mild when he's on the show, Crocs, about playing Madden. Hopefully someday we'll get that done, and we'll have a Twitch stream or something with that going.
But hold on. You talked about it not being important, and there are a lot of people that push back and the ratings come out and et cetera. I have seen a ton of people complaining. So much so that I actually put out a tweet that, like, the people that always say, oh, Madden is trash, nobody plays Madden, are the people that don't play Madden. There's an entire community of people that are like faithfully Madden players, no matter what. And I was just in New York for Underdog Fantasy, and there were a few content creators that they had out there who were Madden players. And we're talking about guys who have over 400,000 subscribers from Madden, over 100,000 subscribers, over 100,000 followers on Twitter because they play Madden. So there is a huge community of Madden that is really big, of a lot of people that actually do care about these ratings. So I don't know. There's always a pushback, but the pushback comes more so from the people that don't even buy or play the game.
We're going to get into those Madden ratings, whether folks out there like it or not, because it is July 20th and
19th. Right?
19th,
oh, yeah, 20th. 20th. Excuse me.
19th
20th.
As we record, 20th when this podcast will be released on Wednesday. And we're still a week away from training camp, so there's not a lot else to get into. And I mean, young me, I haven't played Madden well, but young me cares about the ratings still. And you can defend your guys, right? And
the players care, right?
Oh,
I saw Deebo tweet. I saw Deebo's tweet about something along the. I guess I got to prove myself, and you see how the players get a little upset at the ratings, so they care about it.
Do you think John Lynch brings that to the negotiating table? I don't know. Deebo 88. You going to get paid more than the guy who's 94 overall? I don't know, Deebo. That's funny. Okay, hold on. We're going to bring up the Madden ratings, exactly talk about the ones we like, what we don't like, who are the leading players at each position for the 49ers. But there's been a lot of reports today about Deshaun Watson's potential suspension possibly not being a full year. There was one report that said somewhere between 2 and 8 games. Saw somewhere else it was 8 games is something that is maybe somewhat likely. We'll find out what exactly this is. I know the NFL likes to do the thing where they sort of put a trial balloon out there and see what the reaction is to these things. Deshaun Watson earlier this week, his team said that they basically threatened to sue the league if he got suspended for a full year. So he's probably trying to get in front of that before they even give the suspension out, just to kind of, try to strong arm them a little bit. I don't know if that made a difference. And now we're hearing reports about 8 games, just like a day or two after we heard the reports about Deshaun Watson potentially suing the league if they try to suspend him for more. But if it is 8 games, Croc, that to me would signify not enough games of Jacoby Brissett for the Cleveland Browns to do anything at quarterback and go trade for someone like Jimmy Garoppolo, right? It's pretty much got to be the full year, or the Browns would probably be pretty out on Jimmy G.
If I'm the Cleveland Browns and it is indeed an 8-game suspension, I am out on Jimmy Garoppolo. I'll rock it out with Jacoby Brissett. Hopefully we can we get to be 500 at that time. And again, it's still not going to be an easy transition. Inserting a Deshaun Watson who possibly, if he faces suspension now, is even able to report to training camp. I don't know. I know guys that are up for suspension with PEDs and things like that. I think they can, but once the season starts, they can't play. So if it's that, at least he kind of gets to build some camaraderie, but they still have to prepare Brissett to be the starter for the first 8 games. So that's a tough situation, but even then, I'd assume with them knowing that Deshaun Watson will be coming back, if indeed the rumors are true, if they know Deshaun Watson is coming back, there is no need for Jimmy Garoppolo. But if they throw us a curveball and it comes out, oh no, he actually is going to be suspended for an entire season, that's when I think that Jimmy Garoppolo will be in play.
And if I'm not mistaken, this coming Monday is when the hearings are supposed to end. They might the league likes to do things on Friday, like getaway day, and sort of hide that news. So maybe we'll hear about a suspension Friday. Maybe it comes Monday, but at some point in the next week, we're going to have some clarity, I think, on this thing with Deshaun Watson before, he appeals whatever that number of games is, which I'm sure he will no doubt do no matter how many games it is. But I mean, the report I saw, 2 to 8 games, that doesn't even add up. 2 games.
That was Florio.
Was it Florio?
And then, that was Florio with that one. And then I recently on Twitter just saw another one from the NFL rumors thing, which, these people typically have some sort of good sources for the most part. I don't think they just talk out of their rear ends. If you're saying it like that, the Browns are preparing for an 8-game suspension for Deshaun Watson, and they have to bring in a quarterback. I think we both could agree that if it is 8 games, they're preparing to bring in a 4th quarterback for training camp, or
right.
Maybe a backup, not someone to play over Jacoby Brissett for 8 games.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets suspended at all, they got to bring in an arm, and the fact that they haven't means that that's open. And clearly, if they just wanted to bring in a training camp arm, they would have done that already. So clearly, whatever the suspension is impacts what the Browns are going to do at quarterback, which makes me think they are thinking about someone like Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Or else they would have already made a move because they know they're going to need somebody for camp and a couple games or whatever. Or actually, can't Watson play in camp, but then once the season starts, he can't play?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So I think, because I've seen that before where like Jordan Willis plays in preseason, but then he had to miss 4 to 6 games to start the season.
Oh, that's even weirder.
But you take away reps from Jacoby Brissett.
Right. Yeah.
So they still will prepare as if Deshaun Watson, but even then, you want somebody else in there because you just never know. So if I'm him, or if I'm the team, you need him there because you have to prepare for him to come back week 9 or whenever.
Yeah.
But you can't. It's like, dang, do we want to take away from reps from other guys, or do we even want him to be a distraction being on the field? That's the bed that they have to lay in because they made the decision to trade for him.
Right, and if it's a year, then you probably don't want to have him taking reps from anybody. But if it is a 8-game suspension, you need to get him ready, but you need to get the other guy ready too. I mean, that's a really difficult situation for the Browns to be in. Okay,
do they do anything about the $1 million salary from this year?
I think that's why the league has been pushing for such a strong suspension too, because they're mad about that on top of it. So I wonder if it's 8 games, but then the money is more. I wonder if there's something else that comes into play here, because I don't think
you fine them. You can fine them. I mean, right?
Well,
does a team? Can the team only fine?
You get suspended without pay, but if the pay is lower, that's what the league is going to be pushing back.
No, but guys get fined. Like there are things you can get fined for, right? Like if Deebo Samuel doesn't report for the start of training camp, like you can fine him. So,
right. So
can the league hand out a fine? They've handed out fines to organizations, and maybe that's what they'll do. Because didn't the New England Patriots get fined with the whole deflate gate and all that? I feel like they lost like a first-round pick, but also I believe there's some kind of $1 million fine or something. We've seen that. We've seen coaches get fined. Maybe they'll hand out a fine to the organization, not the player, for just working it out that way and doing some weird stuff.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of possibilities, and there might be some negotiations behind the scene as well. And maybe 8 games is something where the Browns and Deshaun Watson's people are in on it, and they're like, okay, we won't appeal if it's 8 games, but if it's 10 games or more, then we will appeal, and then they'll drag it out longer. And
I feel like even if it's 10 games, I don't know. It's like, all right, like I get to play this year.
But the dirtiness of that contract and knowing that he might get suspended and having the low first-year contract with only $1 million base salary, I wonder if they're like going to have to go after some of that prorated bonus. They got to go after something more than that if it's 8 games, or else. And I think people would be furious anyway if it's 8 games.
But we are in agreement that as it pertains to Jimmy Garoppolo, if it's anything less than a full season, Garoppolo will not be traded or entertained by the Cleveland Browns.
Yes, I agree. Yep. Next, let's talk Madden ratings. Who was slighted? Who are the highest rated players in Madden 2023 for those San Francisco 49ers? How about our friends at BetOnline? BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all of your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. Not only just wagering at BetOnline either. You can find reviews and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, 2 major leagues of golf now, major events in golf. We got celebrity boxing happening. Live betting at BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information, from live in-game betting scores to news. They have you covered. Tons of NFL futures already up there at BetOnline. You can go bet on the 49ers and Bears in week 1. You can bet on Trey Lance to win MVP. You can bet on Kyle Shanahan for coach of the year. You can bet on the number of yards Deebo Samuel will get, probably as a rusher and a receiver. I'm not sure if the rushing yards totals is on there, but tons of props already for the 2022 football season at BetOnline. Get over to BetOnline today. Use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thanks again, everybody, for making Locked On 49ers your first listen every day. For your second listen, make sure you're checking out the Peacock and Williamson NFL show and Eric Crocker doing Locked On NFL Draft daily right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Croc, remember last week? They presented Trent Williams with this box and all this pretty stuff. And they're like, hey, you're the first ever guy to be 99 overall or whatever. And we're like, wait a second. First of all, he's not the first offensive lineman to be 99 overall. Then I look at the Madden ratings. Dude's a 98. They host Trent Williams. He's not even a 99 like they promised.
First of all, we did our super deep dive investigation, which I'm actually really good at. You know, when I played for the San Jose SaberCats, they gave us a job and we were private investigators. All right, private investigators. So yeah, we did our private investigating on this situation here.
Hold on. What are you talking about? Private investigators? Was that like there was like Legion of Boom, but then for the you were called the PIs? No, because you wouldn't want to be PIs because that'd be pass interference. That'd be a good nickname, private investigators. PI, though, doesn't work if you're a What are you talking about being a private investigator for the
I'm trying to figure out how much I can say without getting our ring taken away, but
Okay.
I was a private investigator. All right, I was a PI.
Okay.
And
Say no more.
arena football, you don't make a ton of money. I think our base salary was like, I don't know, $1,000 a week or something like that, $1,200 a week. So figure things out there. All right, make sure that Crocky was coming. All right, but anyways, so I was a private investigator. You and I did some digging, some private investigating using my previous skills, and like, dude, there's been several 99 overall offensive linemen. So, why is EA Sports like, why are y'all lying?
Yeah. Quit lying to my boy Trent Williams. I mean, he doesn't deserve it. He's the best offensive lineman in the NFL. Got a 98 overall rating, the highest rating for any San Francisco 49er player in Madden 23.
That's big time, which as he should. And again, you look at PFF, and I know a lot of people are like, PFF sucks, but at the very least, they grade everybody equally, and he was like the highest graded player ever in PFF history. So in fact, that player should be 98 or 99 overall.
He might be one of the few players ever to have a higher PFF grade than a Madden rating, because I think he was like 98 point something with his PFF grade. And usually a PFF grade for like a good player's, 70s, 80s for a guy who's, rated 94 overall or something.
If he was a little bit younger, he probably wouldn't 100% be 99 overall. But the fact that he is he's getting up there. And that's the funny thing about Trent Williams. I think we view him as just somebody that's just going to play at this extremely high level forever. It's like, he is getting a little up there in age.
Well, we're going to get into probably on tomorrow's pod, maybe the offensive line. And we've been doing some positional previews, getting ready for training camp. We got to talk about the offensive line. And Trent Williams is one of those where he's playing at such a high level, but he's only played 16 games in a season twice in his career. And he's not young anymore. And he ended last year hurt. He's talking about how he probably shouldn't have been playing in the NFC Championship game. So, but Trent Williams, I mean, he's a monster when he's healthy and he's on the field. The second highest rated player in Madden 23 is George Kittle. Probably not a surprise. He's a 96 overall. But what's interesting is that Travis Kelce's at a 99. And I would think with how good of a blocker George Kittle is, just with the blocking ability and everything that goes into playing tight end, I don't know how George Kittle's not the highest rated Madden tight end, because he's got everything, and he hits the blocking, and he hits the receiving, and he's got top speed. So that's going to raise up your ratings too. So I don't understand what could be holding him back and allowing. I mean, that would mean Travis Kelce's ratings just have to be off the charts as far as route running and receiving and all that stuff.
I think his receiving, and there's probably, for a tight end in Madden, it's probably more heavily weighted towards the receiving aspect of your game, and it's probably through the roof, as it should be. I mean, he is basically a receiver. And I do think that there might not be that. There's going to be a difference in their run blocking or pass blocking or whatever abilities, but maybe not to the extent of what a lot of fans think. That's one thing that I always try to point out. I feel like, and George Kittle, like, people take it out on him as well if you're outside of the San Francisco 49ers fan base, or even some members of the 49ers fan base. But when you do something at an extremely high level, people discount how well you do other things in other aspects of your game. So George Kittle is so great at run blocking, and people highlight that so much. In a lot of people's minds, he's a blocking tight end, and he isn't a great pass catching receiver, but he's terrific run after catch. Like, that's what they think. So Kyle Shanahan schemes him open. He's great after catch, but he's not a good route runner. They discount that. They discount all these things. And I'm like, what George Kittle are y'all watching? Because he's one of the more fluid movers. He's really good. I mean, you watch him at the top of the route, head nod, go this way, use his hands. If there's any place where he lacks as a pure receiver, it's contested catch. That's something that we don't see a lot of, whether they just don't trust him to catch those or what. But that part of his game is kind of lacking. He doesn't catch a lot of touchdowns. Like, that's there. But just ability. When I hear people say, oh, he's not a good route runner, like, that can't be further from the truth. But when we talk about Travis Kelce here, and you say, well, think, George Kittle's run blocking ability should make him far, better than Kelce, but
and top
maybe
faster than Kelce too, even though
maybe Kelce is a better run blocker than maybe people give him credit for. But they just highlight his pass catching so much. Like, I've never seen him just getting tossed to the ground or thrown, or like, oh man, Julius Thomas. And I went to high school with Julius Thomas. All right, that was my buddy. All right, he was a year younger than me. We couldn't even get him to play football. Julius Thomas was not good run blocking tight end. He was getting tossed around, thrown to the side. Like, he was terrible at it. And you could just see it. And I don't think that's the case with Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I mean, he's a tough guy. He's a football player, but still, come on, it doesn't make up for the gap there. He's a good player. You laid it out well there, Croc, but I'm not buying it. I'm still not buying it. Fred Warner, the top linebacker in Madden 23 with a 94 overall rating. He gets the field general tag as well. Really not much else to say there because he's the best linebacker in the league, and they rated him properly. 94 overall. Good job. Third highest rated player for the 49ers in Madden 23. How about young Nick Bosa, though? I like how they call him a smaller speed rusher. 93 overall, though, and that's an overall rating with his age that can continue to go up. So this is a guy that he might be the next, 99 for a San Francisco 49er would be Nick Bosa, because I don't know if he'll get all the way to 99, but 93 is really good for a guy who's still 24 years old.
Yeah. If you play connected franchise mode, he'll be 99 after the first year.
Okay.
Now, if you're just going online to play, then I do think, as long as he comes out and he plays like Nick Bosa plays, you'll see that rating go up to 95, and you'll be good with him in online play. But 99 easily in connected franchise mode. I mean, because he probably has a superstar trait. And when you have the superstar trait, your points, they just accumulate much faster, and he'll be 99 in no time.
Okay. You know who else better have a superstar trait, and you know who else has been disrespected by the Madden ratings czar, and that is Deebo Samuel, because he doesn't even have a 90 rating in Madden. We'll get to that next. Those were the 4 49ers players that were 90 or over. Trent Williams, 98, George Kittle, 96, Fred Warner, 94, and Nick Bosa has a 93 overall rating. We'll get to Deebo Samuel and some more of the 49ers next. Which NFL stars move the betting lines the most? Well, Deebo Samuel, one of those. Starting this week, Locked On gives you the 50 most valuable players in the NFL from the odds makers at BetOnline. We're into the 30s now on Wednesday. It started Monday all the way through Friday. 10 per day are being released on Locked On NFL, on the Locked On NFL YouTube channel, or wherever you get podcasts. Go find the Locked On NFL show and find out where maybe some 49ers ranked. Deebo coming in the 40s. That has been released. That was released on Monday. And maybe 49ers quarterback will make the list. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, though. You're going to have to watch for yourself. Locked On NFL. Check it out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Croc, do you feel like Deebo was as disrespected as I do, and as Deebo thinks he was, with an 88 overall rating, the 16th best wide receiver as far as overall ratings go on Madden 23?
So I'm looking at his ratings, and it has to do with his receiver ratings. So just as when you look at his general ratings, speed, acceleration, strength, agility, awareness, jumping. Why is it jumping 95? Like, that's hella good. All right, stamina, 94. I mean, he actually gets tired. It's weird, like, the things that they gave him a lot of love at, and maybe it just doesn't move your ratings a whole lot. I feel like those things could be, doesn't he get tired? Like, don't you see Deebo, like, sucking wind a little?
Yeah, he does sometimes need to take some play. Well, he gets used so much.
Okay, maybe that's what it is. I don't want to come off as a Deebo hater. Sorry, Deebo. I mean, I just see you over there on your knee, like, give me some of that water. All right. So,
what would you give his stamina? What number would you put on it?
Not 94. I'd say like 88.
Okay.
And then you go to it like, so here's my issue. Not his issue, but why he's 88 overall. His receiver ratings are 87. And that probably factors more into his overall rating. And when you look at everything, he has one trait that's in the 90s as a receiver. And that's his spectacular catch. All right, which I think is probably actually right, especially if he had more opportunities for it. He did a great job over at South Carolina. But that's 91. Outside of that, everything else is catch rating 88. I actually said drops a few balls, but anyways, 88. Catching traffic 88. I think that should be higher. Short route running 89. I think that could be a little bit higher. Medium route running 86. Deep route running 80. Release 89. I think that's pretty fair. Now, when you compare that to, like, let's say Stephon Diggs, he doesn't have a trait from a receiver rating in the 80s. 98 catch, 97 spectacular catch, 93 catch in traffic, 94, 97, 94. I mean, everything is in the 90s. So I think that's where Deebo takes a hit in his ratings. They view him, he's getting disrespected by them like he is the rest of the media, with people saying, oh, he's not a real receiver or whatever they call him. They're not a pure receiver. Like, what the hell does that even mean? Deebo is a great receiver. He's a 1,400-yard receiver, and even when with limited targets, he led the NFL in yards per reception, even though he's catching most of his passes within 5 yards because of how the offense was designed for whoever was designed for like that. I don't want to throw, I don't want to kick Jimmy while he's down, but it's like, I feel like they're a little disrespectful with some of those things, and it could be up. Yeah, but that's why it's 88 and not 90, 91, because you look at Stephon Diggs, whose overall rating is, let me see, hold on, 96. Okay, I mean, maybe I looked at the wrong guy.
Because we can compare him to some other guys that are, like McLaurin's ranked overall better than him, and that's where I start to have a problem, because I think Deebo's as good a receiver, plus he has all the other stuff, but he's not getting as much credit for these other ratings, which are really good with the ball carrier type stuff, the carrying. He's got an 80 trucking. No receiver in the league is going to have that. 98 ball carrier vision. He's got 88 stiff arm, 92 juke move, 90 break tackle, 89 change of direction, which maybe should go higher. So he's not probably getting enough credit. It has WR next to his name. There's no wide back category. So he's not getting his overall pushed up enough from those extra things that he's doing. But he probably plays like a better receiver in the game than an 88 would because what he can do after the catch. But I would still argue that his agility should be a little higher. His short route running, he's one of the better zone receivers in the league, and he's the slant god, So his short route running, medium route running, I'd put a lot higher than.
And I think his acceleration, which is 93, and that's good. I think he's 95 acceleration. Right. I think when Deebo Samuel, like, what makes him special, it's that acceleration. Because I think it gets off on people before they even really realize what's going on. And then by the time you realize, and then how strong he is, he's just running by, you're reaching, and he runs through that arm tackle. So I think his acceleration could be 95, but let's compare him to Terry McLaurin, who his acceleration is better than Terry McLaurin, but his speed's a little bit lower. But McLaurin has 97 catch, 94 spectacular catch, 94 release. And I think those alone, as well as his deep route running, is much better than Deebo Samuel's. Like, those are the reason why he's 2 overalls better.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. Like, when you just look at their pure receiving grades, that's why. But overall, I think Deebo might actually be like the better player, which is how people view him around the league.
Yeah. So either they gotta figure out a way in their formula to value those things and the after the catch ability that Deebo has, or not disrespect his receiving ability, because I think that is also happening here with some of these ratings. The 6th actually kind of tied for 14th. He's tied with Godwin and Adam Thielen. And actually, AJ Brown got a little disrespect at 87, right below Deebo. I'm not buying that one either. I would put all those guys. I would put Deebo and AJ Brown ahead of Tyler Lockett, ahead of McLaurin. And the thing is with Deebo, he's going to be 27, and so he's not going to his rating's not going to. This is not like a second-year guy. This is not like a 22, 23-year-old guy. It's going to go up a lot. So there might not be as much growth from here. So
it won't go up. It won't go up. Like connected franchise mode, it'll be hard to really get it to boom, or it kind of might plateau after like kind of this first year. Because they on the game, whatever you go into the season as, that's what your age is on the game for that year. That's how they do it. So he'll still only be 26 on the game. So that helps him a lot. So he probably has about 2 seasons before it starts to get really hard to improve his rating. But again, that affects you more in connected franchise mode as opposed to if you're just doing online play. If he's killing it again this year, then his rating is going to go up on Madden while you're playing online.
So Deebo was disrespected by a few overall points, but you know who was disrespected the most, Croc? Our guy Tabor Pepper from yesterday's podcast. Got to go all the way to the bottom. They gave my guy a 28. I didn't know ratings went that low. 28?
Yeah.
Well, they don't have a long snapper position on the game. They never really have. They've got him listed as a tight end. We talked about that. He won't even breach the subject with Kyle Shanahan asking for some tight end reps. So that's part of the problem. Is he's got the wrong letters next to his name. It should say LS. Give some long snapper respect, Madden. It's been way too long. This is Madden 23. Come on. long snappers deserve that respect. Give him an LS and give him the rating that he deserves. None of this 28 nonsense.
What is Trey Lance? I'm looking for him.
What do you think he should be before you see it? Because I found it.
I'd say 75.
It's 72.
Yeah.
It's a lot of growth. That's multiple seasons of growth just to get to the point where he's a real good.
Oh yeah. Well, his speed is 87 and his acceleration is 90. So on the game, connected franchise mode, and I talk about that a lot because that's what I play most. That's an easy person to, before you know it, he'll have superstar upgrade, and then, I mean, it's through the roof. Now, again, got to work on his accuracy stuff is low. 79 throw accuracy, medium and deep. Throwing the run can be better. Throwing the pressure isn't great. You know, now the short accuracy not bad, but here's the thing: nobody really cares about that stuff. Again, in connected franchise mode, they care about the arm power more, and maybe that's where I could kind of disagree. Other things is okay. I can see why you would say that, but the throwing power at 91, I feel like that should be a little higher. I feel like it should be 93. And that's what people care about most because throwing power is the harder one to really improve on the game.
And he's a young guy. A few more seasons. He's still barely 25 years old. You could, you have some time to develop him into something. What do you think Jimmy Garoppolo should be? He comes in at 75 overall, just a little bit ahead of Trey Lance.
I think Jimmy should be like 78.
79?
Like
80 maybe? Yeah. I mean,
in his prime, he was, I said in his prime, like he's just been, but like 84 overall. He was going into the season like 84.
I think
and
so.
I think
Jimmy's disrespected a little bit too. 75, that's backup quarterback numbers.
Well, like he has a lot of the attributes. I would think a lot of the things that you would want to see in your quarterback on the game, you know, the short accuracy, just accuracy in general, you would assume would be a little higher awareness. That's something that bumps up a rating a good amount. I would assume. Well, actually, I don't know if his awareness is.
Okay, hold on. Before we run out of time here, Croc, we got to go to a place. And there are some starters for the San Francisco 49ers that are going to be tough to play with when you load up that Madden for the first time, because Alex Mack is still listed here. He's the 7th highest rated player on the 49ers because these rosters haven't been updated with his retirement. He's an 85 overall. If Jake Brendel is the starting center for the 49ers, he's the next lowest graded guy after Tabor Pepper on the entire roster. You're going to roll out there with a 56 overall starting center for the 49ers potentially.
That's not what you're going to do. What you're going to do is just put anyone else there. So Jalen Moore.
If you put Jalen Moore, he's only a couple spots higher. He's the 61st rated guy on the team. He's a 62 overall. Colton McKivitz is a 62 overall. Justin School's a 65 overall, and he might go down if you put him at center because I don't think he's the right skill set for that. You got to go. Aaron Banks is already going to be a starter plugged in at left tackle. He's a 68. Daniel Brunskill is already starting right guard. He's 69. So if you put Brunskill at center and he's a 69, you've got all your interior offensive linemen in the 60s. Some of them in the low 60s. There's nobody else to put in there to even get you out of the 60s.
Yeah, the whole line's gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna
need a little work.
We're gonna talk more about the offensive line, but it's kind of bleak when you look at them in these Madden terms. And then starting strong safety, Talanoa Hufanga. What do you think he's ranked as? Have you seen that one?
I know I don't see it right now, but I'm gonna.
You're not scrolling far enough down. 68 overall, starting strong safety in the 60s. So the 49ers are worse by a lot on Madden this year. You got a 72 overall starting quarterback. You've got 3 offensive linemen in the 60s as starters. You got a 68 overall strong safety. There's some superstars on the roster. Obviously, we talked about those early, but there's some rough ratings in there too.
Tart on the Eagles is 81 overall. So you kind of go from that 81 to 83 range for Tart down to a 68 overall, and you lose some athleticism as well.
Yeah, lose some speed. Some folks going to plug in George Odom. He's a 71 at least.
Yeah.
Is Mohamed Sanu still on the roster? He's listed here. He's not on the roster, is he?
Nah, I don't think so.
Come on, Madden.
They'll get that right though. I mean, they put out their ratings and everything, and I mean, I saw like River Craycraft. He's on Miami, but they have River Craycraft on the roster, so they'll have that all fixed.
They better put Trent Williams. They better give him that 99 like they told him. They made a whole presentation about it. He better not show up with this 98 nonsense. I'm saying.
Yeah, nah, no way.
And give Deebo the 90 he deserves.
Yeah.
All right. Those are the Madden ratings. Madden 23. That's fun to look at those and see how, the Maddens are. They say they put a lot of work into it. They grade every player in the NFL. So means something to those folks out there. They're going to fire up Madden, and they got to play against their friends with just get destroyed in the interior.
Real quick, one guy we didn't talk about. What is Brandon Ayuk?
Ayuk was okay, not good, but let's see. Where was that? I lost it.
Emmanuel Mosley, I feel like slightly
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that Mosley would get disrespected. I don't think national coverage of him is good enough for how good of a player he is.
But has his play been as good at his position as Javon Kinlaw at his position? And maybe Kinlaw's living off being the 14th overall pick. But
yeah, being a first rounder, height, weight, speed, or height and weight for sure. Guy with Javon Kinlaw being a first rounder, they're both 76s. I feel like Kinlaw is right. Mosley should be better. But Charvarius Ward, there's your starting corners. Charvarius Ward's only a 78 for being a big dollar free agent.
Yeah. Jason Verrett, you got to play him. He's 83 overall. So
49ers in Madden 23 is a great team to start a franchise with and develop and roll with. But to play your buddies, there's some stars clearly, but that might be a rough team to play with these fresh out of the box ratings.
You're gonna need a whole lot of roaming with Fred Warner and Jimmy Ward, who's 85 overall. You're gonna have to make some plays with those guys.
Yep. Scramble with Trey Lance. Scramble to one side or the other, get away from the interior pass rush. And
you don't have the speed that they've had in the past either. I mean, like with Raheem Mostert's like 96, 97 speed. I think it was, I saw. So, you don't have that game-breaking speed. Even before that, when they had him and Tevin Coleman was like 94 speed. And Mostert was like 96 speed. Then you have Breda, who was like 97. Like, they were all just so fast that it really helped you have some explosive-ness. But you're missing that now. I didn't even see where Mitchell was.
Elijah Mitchell, he's probably good. He's got 90.
He's got a good grade. 79 overall.
Yeah, that's really good.
90, acceleration 90. That's about
79
right.
for a second-year running back. Yeah, he'll be in the mid-80s before the second year's done. All right, anyway, we're running out of time. We got to go. You can find the rest of those Madden ratings, I'm sure, if you are interested, or once you buy the game and fire it up, you'll see how it looks. And Croc and I will be back tomorrow right here. Locked On 49ers.